Yeet, 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 yeet. Oh man, I have heard the human bleat, and it is yeet. So something interesting this week's SmackDown revealed to us is that Memphis may well become the new Corpus Christi. Man, these people were sat down harder than someone who just consumed a British curry in heat. No enthusiasm. Half of them were probably on their phones, checking their little Candy Crush saga and their AI girlfriends. Anyways, really poor stuff. I don't get the point of wasting money on tickets if you're going to take a vow of silence for half the night. And as much as I and many others have roasted Jey Uso's talent, or more importantly, lack thereof lately, he deserves a lot of credit here for actually getting these dullards to make some noise. Good for Jey Uso. Seeing him bring this dead crowd to life was a testament to how over he is at the moment. That being said, his entire entrance here went for about 11 minutes. That's insane. I'm not sure even broken down, arthritic, one-match-a-year phase Undertaker's entrances ever ran that long. Jey Uso and Cody Rhodes have a nice hug here, nice moment. Everyone's friends. There's an awful lot of friendships and feelings in the men's division of late, especially whenever Sami Zayn is in the house, which, thankfully, he's not at the moment due to Kevin Owens' babyface turn. That's what it was in my eyes. You deserve it. Has to be the worst chant of all time. Jey Uso's out here cutting a babyface promo, and these marks are doing a chant that basically acknowledges wrestling is fake and Jey Uso is getting a push. In storyline, he doesn't deserve it, he earned it by winning the Royal Rumble. I remember in 2017 when Bray Wyatt won the WWE Championship. He cut a very good promo on the SmackDown after, as a heel, a sinister heel at the time, and these hick fans were chanting, "You deserve it," completely ruining any atmosphere or aura he might have wanted to build up with his material. Pathetic! Cody Rhodes comes out, he does his usual, "So what do you guys want to talk about?" before backtracking and admitting he knows exactly what they want to talk about, so why'd you say it then? Jey Uso tells Cody Rhodes he has two decisions to make. False. He has one decision to make, which has two options. What is going on here? Rhodes mentioned he's badly banged up after that ladder match at the Rumble, and keep that in mind for later tonight. They shake hands. Does anyone really expect Jey Uso to challenge Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania? It'd be more interesting just because it hasn't really happened before, unlike another Gunter match, but it's an absolutely bizarre fit for a major WrestleMania bout. Jacob Fatu and Tama Jabba came out. I don't even know what Tama Tonga said here. Stay away from crystal meth, I guess. Jacob Fatu was all mean and nasty and menacing. It's a great change of pace from all friends wrestling in the ring. Brawl breaks out. Obviously, Jacob Fatu is a great brawler. Cody Rhodes is fine too, and he sold well enough here as an injured, crippled man. Jey Uso just throws super kicks. It's ridiculous. In a real fight, no rules. Something just breaks out, something happens, you know? Are you going to stand there and rev up for a high-angle kick, leaving your other leg completely exposed to a takedown? No, of course you're not, unless you're an idiot. Shawn Michaels did some brawling segments back in the day. He didn't just stand about trying to hit everyone with the sweet chin music like a buffering video game character. He actually brawled. It pains me to say this, given they're among the absolute worst acts in modern wrestling and ever, but even the not-so-young anymore Buck Cucks would do a little more than a super kick for a brawling segment like this. Shameful. Alright, some wrestling action next. The physically fit, athletic woman beat the compulsive eater as popular babyface star turned tag team nobody on Triple H's watch for some reason. Bianca Belair survived the all-encompassing, Galactus-like appetite of Dewdrop. The whole match revolved around Belair trying to hit the KOD on Doudrop's sizable frame, which she did around the 8-minute mark. Goes without saying, the right woman won. What are the odds Belair turns heel when Jade Cargill comes back, if that ever happens? She played a heel in NXT, funnily enough, and I've seen rumblings of her maybe being the one revealed to have done that attack on Cargill last year. Something to think about. The crowd booed #GAY next, and rightly so. Johnny Generic and Tommaso Ciampa do not fit main roster appeal. They're short. They're boring. They work the same match formula every time they're in the ring. No one cares about their long-running feud and friendship. Ciampa had his moments in NXT as the Blackheart. There was a semi-entertaining character there. But on the main roster, these guys have been horribly exposed as mid-indies jobbers, merely getting a push because Triple Nose just loved working with them in NXT. Good work if you can get it, I suppose. Pretty Zesty came out next, and as ludicrous as their characters are, they at least have actual characters and make some fans laugh. I just said Triple Nose loves #GAY. I might have been wrong though, as they lost to the Zest Merchants in rapid time, and half the match seemingly got lost to a commercial. Tough guy Ciampa had to resort to pulling on Elton Prince's hair. Maybe because he's jealous the guy actually has hair, I don't know. And that led to a countered roll-up that got Zesty the win. No one looks good here. Badly booked segment. How long before we get the belts on the Street Profits? You'd like to think that Rumble heel turn leads directly to them getting the belts. Unless, of course, it's like that New Day heel turn where they turned because they were tired of losing, only to turn around and keep on losing. Brilliant way to get a new act over, that, really clever. Decent segment between The Miz and Cody Rhodes next. These guys have very good chemistry on the mic. Go back to when Rhodes came back in 2022, and their promos together there had some zip as well. Miz is the perfect kind of loudmouth weasel heel for sensible babyface Rhodes to trade quips with. Miz hyped up the impact of Jey Uso choosing Cody Rhodes, and Rhodes pulled his worried face over it, as did I. Could you imagine if that was the WrestleMania 41 main event? Good grief. Alright, so I know I complain sometimes about there being too much talking on these shows, but the big promo up next between Drew Jubentire, Jubby Uso, and LA Jub was a lot of fun. There were cheeky shoot references to McIntyre's purported backstage gripes at the Royal Rumble. LA Knight got real for a second talking about mental health, and Jimmy Uso held his own and showed some pizzazz as a babyface, and he never had to resort to using a meme from Vine to get over, so just keep that in mind. Drew McIntyre calling Raw a toxic workplace was quite amusing. Jimmy Uso showed some real fire here, talking about his obsession with making his own path to WrestleMania. LA Knight came out, charisma out of the ears, completely took over the segment here. He established continuity, pointing out how Jimmy Uso cussed him when he challenged Roman Reigns back in 2023. And then he spoke quite seriously about mental health and well-being. Unexpected. But he has enough verbal ability that it came off well-meaning and serious, rather than cringy or out of place. Hilariously, though, he pivots from that into roasting Drew McIntyre. The jokes weren't even that funny, but the serious setup was very effective. At one point he even says, "Oh wait, I forgot to get my stuff in," seemingly confirming who McIntyre was angry with at the Rumble, if that story is even true. WWE appear to be having a right laugh, working mark dirt sheets lately. This all led to their triple threat match, the second match in a row, where audiences at home missed the start due to an ad break. Weird way to position them that immediately handicaps the immersion factor the match could provide. This was a fast-paced, neatly worked triple threat bout with a clever, if slightly over-choreographed finish, where McIntyre hit LA Knight with the Claymore as Knight put Jimmy Uso down with the BFT. McIntyre is going to Elimination Chamber. Given that LA Knight is there most weeks, and Shinsuke Nakamura is neither over nor there most of the time, you gotta ask, why was the US Championship taken off LA Knight when he's clearly not going anywhere higher on the card? Damian Priest versus Braun Jubman versus Jacob Fatu is confirmed for next week. That actually ought to be entertaining. That looks quite good on paper. Wouldn't shock me if Priest wins and that sets up a Strowman-Fatu singles rematch, but we'll see. Kevin Owens cut a great promo about how much he hates Sami Zayn now. It was very similar to some of his old heel promos on El Generico back in Ring of Honor. Not a bad thing. Psycho hardcore Kevin Steen back then was much more interesting than the soft babyface stuff Owens did for most of last year and the year before in WWE. Carmelo Hayes. I'm not even going to call him Carmanlet Hayes at this point because WWE are burying him enough. Carmelo Hayes took 7 minutes. 7 minutes to defeat Akira Tozawa. I might make fun of how much jubbing some stars have done lately, but Tozawa is a literal jubber. The power of Tozawa involves laying on his back. And Carmelo Hayes, the man they presented as a big deal at last year's draft, actually has to struggle to beat him. The booking of Carmelo Hayes on the main roster is a seminar in how to ensure someone does not get over. A lot of people, not me, but a lot of people really liked his work in NXT. Why is he being made to look like such a complete chump on the main roster? Why? It's anyone's guess. Roman Reigns continues to be absent. What are the odds the Rumble angle is used to keep him out of the Elimination Chamber as well? Alright, so Charlotte Flair is in the house, yay. The poor woman's starting to look like grilled cheese. On Monday, she went to give a nice, heartfelt speech about coming back from injury, and got booed to the fiery depths of hell. Here, she actually asked the fans what they thought of her in order to decide on being a heel or a face. They largely booed, again. Tiffany Stratton came out and did a big, high-pitched, ear-grating rant on being a huge Charlotte fan. That makes one person in the world. Good stuff. Apparently this is also true. Seeing Charlotte Flair on the TV helped inspire Tiffany Stratton to pursue wrestling in reality. That's a little tidbit I discovered recently. Tiffany Stratton then seemingly, I wasn't sober by this point of the broadcast, seemingly said she wasn't sure WWE would survive without Charlotte Flair or something. I mean, there's flattery, and then there's insanity. Let's get real here. How many stars in recent time have actually made enough of a difference that you could argue WWE wouldn't survive without them? The answer is no one. WWE is an enormous brand. There are guys who draw for them, sure. But them not always being there doesn't torpedo the whole business. Stratton then seemingly, I was really getting a bit lost with this one, seemingly came along and said that ticket sales went up and the WWE became much hotter than it's ever been because of her. Yeah, sure. And I beat up Tyson Fury in a bar fight last night. That sounds believable, doesn't it? Everyone applauded for me, actually. I forgot to mention this earlier on in the video, and then I got on a private plane and had an 11-way with the air hostesses. Oh, and then I saved the country of Ireland from King Ghidorah and Megatron. They had teamed up. Yeah, see, I can just make up total nonsense as well. Stratton then seemingly stole Ricochet's one and only nickname here. Disgraceful. Just because a man puts stuff in his back entrance does not mean it's okay to steal from him. Come on. We're not in high school anymore. We have to be more tolerant now as adults. Apparently. Charlotte Flair healed it up a bit, which helped move this segment along, in fairness. Fans were behind Stratton, I don't really get why after that promo, who then begged like a bratty child for Charlotte Flair to wrestle her. Both her and Rhea Ripley have now looked pathetic, begging the Royal Rumble winner to challenge them, making champions look needy and desperate. Really not the best idea. Compare these segments to Jey Uso's segments with the male champions this week, and the difference is night and day. And those segments, they weren't even that good, but at least they made sense. Nia Jax and Candice LeRae came out. Nia Jax's bored soccer mum voice said something about blondes. I don't know, I desperately needed a wee. I tell you, some beers just run right through you. Alexa Bliss then beat Candice LeRae. Next, right decision, obviously. Alexa Bliss came back to huge fanfare at the Royal Rumble, and drummed up a lot of social media engagement and interest as well. This match was very awkward though. Bliss is green after having been gone for so long, of course, and poor Mrs. Johnny Gargano was tragically born without a personality, or presence, or appeal. Boy, it's honestly impressive she made it this far with the deck stacked so completely against her like that. Now, the Street Profits, I mentioned them earlier. They did do a good promo, good vignette, whatever you want to call it, calling out #GAY. Both guys seemed amped up and intense. Hopefully this actually goes somewhere before both men's primes are just completely wasted by the company. So, main event time. Cody Rhodes revealed he's basically a cripple at the moment with a bum hip and a bad elbow. He tells Jey Uso about it early on in the show. So the question is, why is he wrestling? Think logically, but in kayfabe logic. If you were Nick Aldis and your long-time world champ, the main star of your show, was horribly injured, would you book him in a random throwaway tag match? Rhodes and Jey Uso took on Jacob Fatu and Tama in a very predictable, formulaic tag team main event. We all know why Tama here. He's the Fall Guy, and he's as big a flop as the actual Fall Guy movie was last year. And sure enough, he did what he does best here, counting the lights on the ceiling. Good stuff. Every faction, in fairness, does need a resident pin eater. Some very odd booking in this match, though. It took Jacob Fatu ages to really get involved properly in the match, and when he and Cody Rhodes collided, injured, destroyed, hobbled Cody Rhodes largely got the better of him, hitting many of his main moves, including, and this is the really strange part, the disaster kick and the Cody cutter. So again, Cody Rhodes, in storyline, has a bum hip, but he's doing springboard jumps. Where is the logic here? Rhodes won the match with a crossroads on Tonga, and then the Fat Uso returned and jumped Cody Rhodes right afterwards. Right, so Spike Uso already challenged Rhodes for the gold twice last year. He is not a former world champion, and last time he wrestled, he was soundly defeated by Roman Reigns. Is he getting another title shot now? Let's look at Rhodes' challenges over the past year, alright? So there's AJ Styles, awesome wrestler, but past his prime, and hasn't been a real main eventer in WWE for years. Logan Paul, vlogger, prime peddler, crypto criminal. Some rumors suggest he might have married a man or knocked up a man or something. US champ at the time he challenged Cody Rhodes, never a world champ. Solo Sikoa, untested, unproven, relatively new talent, yet to hold a singles title on the main roster. Kevin Owens, absolute floppers world champion many years ago, mid-carder ever since. Time and again, Cody Rhodes has been given quite low credibility challenges. No Randy Orton feud yet, the most obvious feud you could do with him. Not even a more fun mid-card guy like LA Knight. No Roman Reigns trilogy bout either. People talk about his title run being stale, myself included. Here is one of the big problems. The guy is never given big threat, credible challenges. Before he was champ, he feuded with Brock Lesnar, Seth Rollins, and even The Rock. As champ, though, B-graders, and more B-graders. So that was SmackDown. But before I wrap this up, some other WWE news this week. Multiple talents have been released. I'm not going to make fun of that because it's not funny. It sucks for those who got cut. Losing a job is very upsetting. One of the people who got dropped was Sonya Deville, the captain of Team Rugmunch, the pure scissoring collective. Sucks for her. This news popped up on my feed. And someone commented, "My heart goes out to Daria. Always loved her work." I was a bit confused. Apparently Daria is Sonya Deville's real name. I did not know that, because I don't stake out these people's real lives and pretend I know them on a first-name basis. I've seen this before. When Edge left WWE, I distinctly remember some mark commenting on Twitter. It was still called Twitter back then, I think. "Hopefully, Adam comes to AEW where he'll be appreciated properly." Two things, buddy. You don't know Adam personally, and you don't work for AEW. So why are you talking like you do? I see this a lot. These fans who live so vicariously through the show, they start to think they're a part of it. Very disturbing. real Mark David Chapman, John Hinckley Jr. vibes going on. So for example, anyone who's sat through a few of my videos can probably guess that as a viewer, I quite enjoy the work of performers such as Damian Priest and LA Knight when I'm watching WWE. Right, so let's say I was talking about LA Knight and Damian Priest, right? Let's just say I said, oh man, I'd love to see Shawn win the big one this year. Let's see Luis get another world title run now he's a babyface. Weird. That's weird. I don't know these guys at all. I had to go on Wikipedia to find out their actual first names just to make this point. Look, as a viewer, I might appreciate their entertainment value and their talent in the medium they work in, but you'll never hear me talking like I'm their pal and we go way back. If you are the type who does this, it's okay. Here is some delightful advice for you. It is slightly piggybacking off some comments Drew McIntyre made heading into WrestleMania 40, but it is still worth hearing. Here we go. Have a shower, ease up on the carbs, and remember they're TV characters. They're not your friends, they're performers playing characters. Go out, join some social clubs that appeal to you, and make some actual friends who you can address on a first-name basis, cause you actually know them. And you'll actually be, wildly enough, you'll be much happier